Hello, welcome to the show. We've got a great show for you today. We'll be discussing the book, The Smell of Other People's Houses, which is very good. Alright, see you in a sec. Yes? What do you think of the book?
I think it's painfully boring and has way too many characters, but here's my plot summary of it. Well, The Smell of Other People's Houses alternates first-person narratives of 4 different teenagers in Alaska, living very unfortunate and horrible lives, and it has a storyline between each single one. The first one being Ruth, who lives with her very strict and somewhat abusive grandmother.
Verbally.
She cut off her hair.
It's not. Okay.
That's abuse. Dora, who is living at her friend's house to avoid her psychotic dad.
Actually abusive.
Alice is struggling to live the life she wants to live versus the life that her parents want her to live, or at least she thinks that's how they want her to live. Then there's Hank, irrationally running away from his abusive stepfather.
That's an interesting take, and we'll have you back.
Ice cream, get your ice cream. Made with Crisco and blueberries.
I'll take some ice cream, sir.
Oh, thank you.
For having the show.
Thank you.
Smell of Other People's Houses. First impressions?
It's a very interesting book, as it's based in Alaska. It has a great history. In 1959, oil was first discovered in Alaska on the Swanson River, and until then it had been seen as a very weak, dependent kind of region.
And how does this relate to the book?
It's kind of setting up the events and the, heritage of the culture, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. They found oil January 3rd, 1959. Alaska became a state. That was a huge leap.
It was mind-boggling.
A few other key events on 1964. They had a massive earthquake.
It was humongous.
The biggest earthquake in North American history. Absolutely absurd. Fucking nuts. In 1967, the Fairbanks flood wiped out most of Fairbanks.
A tragedy.
A massive tragedy. In our book, we actually get to see the characters go through this. One character in the book found a prostitute's underwear in the floods, so it gave a lot of people great things. In 1967, the construction of the oil pipeline was completed, and the first oil arrived through Valdez in the pipeline. That one's pretty boring.
Like, all of that was boring, but it's fun.
I think the earthquake one was good. Did you know Alaska's rich, deep history is actually more interesting than this boring book?
Yeah, it is.
Did you know turkey and whales are the only animals with countries named after them? Hi, my name is Jim. I'm your guide from Whale Watchers. Please visit our website at www.whalewatchers.com and join us on a fun whale watching cruise.
Hi, thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
So you could please give us a quick analysis of this book.
Sure, there are many themes in this book. Many intriguing themes such as people who internalize their social classes, family that isn't related by blood. It's very, very interesting. And for example, you don't have to be the same blood to be family. Dora is staying with her friend Dumpling because her father abuses her. And even Ruth got technically kicked out by her grandmother when she got pregnant, and she started living in an abbey, and the nuns were very, very welcoming to her. People internalize their social classes. A lot of people think of their social class no matter how much money they actually have, they still internalize the way that they feel, you understand me? So, even while Dora is at fish camp with her best friend, and she has already won $2,000 in the lottery, she still feels so much poorer than everyone else there for some strange reason. The same thing happens with Ruth. Because she dated Roy, who was a very wealthy young man, she obsesses over the scent of his shirt just because it smells different than her house and her home, because she internalizes just these small little differences between his cedar house versus her shack that she lives in with her grandmother. So main events and significance was family in general, when she finds out that her grandmother wasn't always such an and also when Dumpling went into a coma, which does happen in the book. It is horrible.
Spoilers, FYI.
She gets stabbed in the chest with a handlebar.
We don't know how.
We're not sure how one physically gets stabbed in the chest with their own handlebar of their three-wheeler.
We're working it out, don't worry.
When Dumpling enters a coma, it's physically, literally separates her from Dora, leading Dora to be separated from, like, the closest thing she's ever had to a sister. You understand me?
No problem.
Uh-huh. Near the end, Dora faced her own father, the one who practically shot up a bathroom, the one who hits her mother, the one who physically threatens her and calls her a slut. She stands up to her own father and decides that she wants to stay with Dumpling and her family. Also, another cute family moment is when Ruth is talking to the family who's going to adopt her baby. So she feels some kind of connection. Again, they're not related by blood, but she understands that giving this baby to them is going to change their life forever.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Hey man, what you got there?
Oh, this is a Hostess Snowball, dude.
How long do they last?
I heard they last longer than the Cold War.
No way!
It's wild.
Thanks for being on the show. It's great to have you. What do you think about the book?
I feel like my personal opinion on the book is irrelevant. Thanks.
Okay, how about the author? She's an interesting person.
Yeah, of course. About the author, she was born and raised in Alaska. She worked many years on a commercial fishing boat with her family, which is where we can kind of see inspiration from Alice, since she also works on a fishing boat with her family. She is a host and producer of an Independent Native News, which was a daily newscast focused on Alaska natives. And she's also a reporter for Alaska Public Radio. As you can see with the characters, a lot of their personal experiences have been based on her own personal experiences. You can also see with a lot of the characters the struggles that they go through and like the really detailed aspects of the story about being in Alaska, just the general culture. We can see that comes from her own personal life, which I think is really interesting because when you're reading through the book, the imagery and all the stuff that happens in the book, we can see that actually comes from like her point of view and her experiences, which is epic.
I love Will making out with the dog in the corner. Thank you. Can we remind you that this is not a porno, this is a crash course.
Hi, my name is Jimbo. As you can see, we have a fine selection of cars here at Jimbo's Used Cars. But our pride and joy is three wheels, like this one right here. Please, come down tomorrow. We'll get it to you for the lowest price.
Please come in and replace this.
Yeah, of course.
Imbecile. No!
Hi, welcome back. Sorry for that mild interference. Continue, please.
Of course, as I was saying, one of the author's main inspirations for writing these stories that she is drawn to the intimacy of other people's stories, which is another reason that she got started being on the radio. And as an ending note, I would like to share a quote from the author, which is, "I never tire of people telling me about the smells that trigger memories for them," which is obviously where she got the title from, which is the smell of other people's homes. So, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
It was interesting.
So this book, how? How would this? I'll be
God,
like,
I'm like,
you know
oh,
what?
you
I'll be
need-
like, how? You know, the author was born and raised in Africa.
Okay, I think I got it.
Hi, how are you? F me.
Again!
This is a crash course on the porno. Please calm down.
When Dumpling enters a coma, it separates her from Dumpling when Dumpling separates from Dumpling.
Alright. My entire hand was on your dog's head. Very uncomfortable. About the author, she was born and raised in Alaska, And as an ending note, I will now say a quote from the author.
From the Archer.
Ostrich? Lily.
It's bigger than he is, I'd be worried. You're lost.
It'll be good. It's fine, we have lots of footage.
Rolling.
So,
Sit down. Come on, dude.
and she was the